It's Herb and Rodg with the Herb and Rodg podcast. Title of the show is "Win is a Win, a Loss." We're hoping for a pretty good rant from Rodg on that case. We'll be back to you in 20 seconds. So, Rodg, you kind of shook. Well, first off, welcome in everybody.
Yes, welcome to the Herb and Rodg podcast.
Are you having a good night?
So far, I'm a little sluggish today, but I mean, so far I'm having a good night.
You look terrible, but that's fine.
Thank you. I was kind of looking forward to the show, and I am. So here we are, and what do we got for today? I guess.
Right. So. First off, hello to everybody out there. We already got some money. Check it in. How are you doing tonight, Lady Alpha?
Hello, Lady Alpha.
Brian right behind him. Brian is an Oklahoma fan. So
shout out to Brian.
And one of the newest members of the Shakeback Media Group. So,
okay, shout out to Brian. The Sooners are putting up a lot of numbers. Haven't played anybody tough yet, but the Sooners offense looks good.
Yes. Well, we can't talk about not playing anybody tough because sometimes playing people who aren't tough at all is
us.
Yeah.
So, and we'll get to that in a second. Yeah.
Good night. Good morning or good evening to Mr.
Good evening
as well. Best brother team in the
biz. I say good morning, good evening, and morning.
Because I'm used to his show in the morning. So when I see him,
but
usually when I'm conversing,
this is our show at night.
Yeah, but Mr. U is doing it better than us. So
he is. Shout out to Mr. U.
Yeah, he had a great show in the morning. So
yeah,
I'm going to skip one of those comments. I don't know if that person wants that announced. So we'll go with a boomer and a SMU won't lose another game. So now I got to look at their schedule to see what's going on there.
I got to take a look at SMU's schedule too and see what's going on.
So we talked about maybe not playing anybody tough. And not. Wait, Rodg, I feel something in your words. Nothing but admiration, I hope.
Right.
Yeah. If there's any insults, Rodg is insulting me. So nobody else has to worry about that part. So Rodg, last week I started off with the rant. And by the way, thank you all for the comments. This is another one of those shows where we've planned a little, but any comments, questions, we'd love to have them. We'd love to post them up there. We will talk about them all. I went on a rant about how people are talking about us after losses, right? But I feel like you had something this week after watching this game. There wasn't a lot of. I think it's one of the most empty feelings I've ever had after a win.
Yeah.
You concur? You disagree? What did you have to say after this?
No,
did you have
concur.
A little mini rant?
I concur. I had a mini rant, but I think since we kind of played so sloppy throughout the entire game, and then with the addition of the rain delay, my feelings were just so depressed, and I felt so defeated and deflated, and just so by the time the game was over, I was happy we won, but I was like, what did we just witness? We were a 32-point favorite to South Florida on the road. I think we both picked us to cover, and I just, regardless of who started at quarterback, I just did not see this coming at all.
Yeah.
It's just there's just so many question marks on both sides of the ball.
Defense was actually pretty good, I think.
Defense wasn't, defense was good. We held them to 3 points. So
the quarterback run killed us at times, or the quarterback scramble. It didn't look like design plays, but defense held. The 3 points they gave up was because we gave them terrible field position on off a punt.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I think the big question obviously was, how is Tyler Buchner going to start? How is he going to look? And again, this is my personal opinion. He just didn't look that great. Some of his passes were a little inaccurate. He didn't throw the best football.
He didn't throw the best football. That is putting it mildly.
I mean, it was.
We had a wide receiver screen.
Yes.
And he threw the ball. And the wide receiver had to dive to catch it.
Yes.
That's what I gave up. Do you want to know how bad he was? And I'll let you get back into this.
Right.
He was so bad that Mike, our own Big Mike,
shout out to Big Mike,
unofficial third member of the party, posted an apology about how bad he was. That's how bad he was in that game. So
Yeah, I mean, we all didn't know what to expect from Tyler Button, and we knew Reese from Notre Dame, but as far as what he was going to bring to the game Saturday, obviously he practiced really well. And we heard reports he's taking Team 1 reps, cool, but I did not expect to see what I saw, and it was so. The question after that was, okay, when do you pull him and put in somebody else? So then they put in Ty Simpson, and I'll say this: Ty Simpson was my pick initially at the beginning of the season. I said I think he should start. He throws a nice football. He's accurate, but he didn't really have. There were a lot of times when the pocket kind of collapsed on him. He took a lot of sacks. I felt like there were some times when you have a few seconds in the pocket. If you don't throw the ball by then, you can't just stand in the middle of the pocket and just hope and pray that something opens up. You've got to move, scramble to the right, scramble to your left. And he showed he can run. We all knew he could run anyway. So just go ahead and get those yards. And then the one play I know you're getting ready to talk about is when he scrambled, and he was about 3 yards short of the first down. And it didn't look like anybody was near him. So, but he just kind of like slid or dove or whatever you call it.
No, he didn't dive. He slid.
And he slid, and he was just short of the first down. So I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah. That was one of those first down plays, not a third down, and you need a first down, and you slide. And it's like, when you slide, the second you go into the motion, they mark you down there. They don't even give you any of that yardage. So they cut that off early. Yeah. So his pocket, to your point, Raj, his pocket presence isn't really there yet. He doesn't seem like he moves protections before, which protection was terrible anyway, so I don't know if it would have mattered. But it doesn't seem like he realizes where it's coming from. There was times where I was sitting there watching a blitzer come at it. It just seemed like 5 minutes the blitzer was taking to get there, and I was just like, he going to hit him because Ty didn't have any idea the guy's there. So, go ahead. I'm sorry, though, Roger.
No, you're fine, and you're fine. And so I guess the next question is, not the next question, but I guess the thought on everybody else's mind and what we heard about is Jalen Milroe is QB1. And I think out of the three, based on what we've seen from the three, he's the best out of the three. Obviously, Milroe has a lot to work on. And Brian Roberts posed a really good question. And I think we kind of heard rumors about this after the game.
Right.
He said, who's the guy at QB? We were talking about either Buckner or Ty Simpson. And did Saban bench Milroe just simply to motivate him? What is your thoughts on that? Because was it punishment, or was it the way? I think it was the way he conducted himself the week of practice once he found out he wasn't getting Team 1 reps. Is that it?
That's what the rumor out there is. And shout out to Bama Beat for also posting this. And I think Greg McElroy I don't know if he started. I don't know who to give credit to as far as starting it, but that's the rumor out there is that he didn't react well in practice to possibly being benched because his attitude on Saturday was excellent. He was supportive and everything. Yeah. But let's be honest, man, in a rain, when it's rain and it's sloppier conditions, that was a prime Milroe game. So you have to think the punishment went beyond, because I'm thinking punishment is like you're not starting, but you might get back out there.
Right.
But then is it like, do we have to admit a mistake if we send you back out? It just seems like there's way too much going on. I also feel like because it was South Florida, they felt like they could stretch this out longer and do this. If this was a bigger game, if it was Ole Miss in a conference game, I think he might have gotten out there. But so to answer this specific question, who's the guy at QB? It's Milroe. It was always Milroe. Buckner was just horrible. Simpson is just not ready. And I'm going to double down on what I said at the beginning of this season. Whoever it is between Milroe and Simpson, I always thought it should be between those two.
Yeah.
I don't think they will be the starter next year.
I don't either.
Dylan is in the mix. Eli Holstein is probably still better. And then the guy we got, Julian, coming in saying, Super Saiyan. Is that how they say it in the main?
Super Saiyan, I think, for Dragon Ball Z.
One of those guys, I think, will be the guy
going forward. I agree. I think we'll have a starting quarterback this season going forward, but the QB competition will be alive next year. And honestly, from what I've seen so far, I'm okay to kind of see who else can come into the mix. Now, if Milroe finishes the rest of the season, has a solid season, and we somehow make it to the playoff, then he'll most likely just start next year. And if he can prove that he can do that, and then maybe somebody backs him up for a year, and then somebody else takes over. But at this point, to your point, Milroe's going to be the starting quarterback, but we'll just see what happens throughout the rest of the season. I mean, Alabama's a 6.5 or 7-point favorite for this Saturday.
Yeah.
Prior to this season, I would say with us being at home, maybe we're a 2-touchdown favorite, but based on what we've seen in the game 2 and 3, it's kind of like we'll be lucky to squeeze this one out. And that's just being honest from diehard Bama fans. We look sloppy these past 2 games.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, game 1 we looked good because we played Middle Tennessee State. Then we got punched in the mouth against Texas, and last Saturday it was just ugly. It had nothing to do with the weather. It was just ugly.
Brian has answered his own question 2, maybe 3. So your roughest games are at home. So LSU, who is looking like possibly the second best team in the conference. Tennessee, who I have no idea. Milton has a strong arm, but it's not.
They didn't look good
accurate.
Against Florida.
Yeah, they didn't look good. So your toughest games are LSU, Tennessee, in that order. LSU, Tennessee, going to Texas A&M, which I would not underestimate because of how tough it was last year, even having them at home, and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I would say
those are your worst ones.
Yeah, I would say LSU number 1. The A&M game, and then possibly the Tennessee game in that order. LSU, A&M, Tennessee. And the thing about A&M is it's a road game. And we know how we played on the road the past few years. So that's what's going to bother me about that game. The LSU game, they got the better quarterback. And in a lot of these games we play this year, we're not going to have we're not going to have the better quarterback, basically. I didn't know how to say that. But we're just.
And Brian's losses, he's got Ole Miss and LSU as the losses. So LSU I get because they look better and they beat us last year. Ole Miss is an interesting one because I would still put Tennessee or Texas A&M above them. But I think you're in a position you don't take any of those for granted. So, if we lost all these games, would I be shocked? No. But I think they need to start tailoring it more to Milroe, a guy who is clearly better developed with his legs than his arms.
Yeah.
And with our defense. Our defense is still going to be a strength. It still played well. Did they have a couple breakdowns against Texas? Yes. But were they also put in a couple bad positions against Texas? Yes. And is Texas possibly the best team we're going to face, maybe outside of LSU or on par with LSU? Also, yes. So I think we're going to take too much from that game. And, you kind of just need to focus on what you got coming up and with the schedule ahead of you. So
right. I agree.
That's how I feel. So, what you got on there? So that was it. Oh, and Raj, Mr. You said, don't you like him, Raj?
Yeah, I love Mr. You. I'm not sure where we're going with this, but I don't know what I said for him to feel something. I don't know. Yeah, but shout out to Mr. You, where everything is gravy.
Yep. So appreciate the questions there, guys, and everybody to start us off. So especially when we're feeling a little shaky about our team, it's nice to start up with some comments and questions and stuff we can kind of go through. So definitely appreciate that. So Raj, quick thing about Ole Miss. What are you feeling about this game this week then?
Nervous.
Milroe is back. It looks like he has a little more confidence, I guess. Has won the coaching staff. Plus, he's not looking over his shoulder. Buckner is not going back out there. No. And Simpson is just not ready. I feel like Simpson's going to end up transferring, by the way.
I do too. If he doesn't get the starting position, which he hasn't yet this season, I think he's going to go ahead and transfer. I think the potential's there, but he's just never going to be able to prove it here at Alabama. And like you said, coming into next year, if he does decide to stay, he might slip down the depth chart even more. And I think he knows that. So at this point, it's just let me ride this last season out, and then next year go wherever he wants to go. So
yeah, I agree with that. By the way, Brian, Texas, I think Texas got up for the Alabama game more. Yeah. So I think sometimes people put these little trap games in there and think, oh, they weren't as good as this. Well, they definitely got up for that. But Brian, sneak peek may be on before the Texas game with a Texas person. So everything he's talking about Texas, better back it up that week.
Yeah,
but. From what I've known about Brian so far, I know he will. So that I'm looking forward to that. So that there's a little Raj. That's a teaser for you. So
gotcha.
Okay. So you want to go around the rest of college football, or do you want a random question?
You lead the way. I'm letting you lead the show.
You're letting me lead. You know what? I'm gonna go get a drink then and just see what happens for a minute.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah. I can lead the show until I want to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. You're in charge until you do something you don't want. Gotcha.
Yeah, but as far as the rest of the games, some of these games, let's start off with Georgia, South Carolina. Prior to the game, I made.
Wait. Are you recapping last week first, or are you going on?
Oh, what did you want to do?
And so the question that's just been asked in the comments is the question I was going to give you as a random comment. I went back and looked, and we missed it from last week, so that is a question we will address at some point in there. Okay.
So do
I was saying, do you want to recap what you were watching this past week before we move on to next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I paid a little attention to the Georgia South Carolina game, and I made the comment, and I said South Carolina.
Is this the only reason why you're bringing it up because you were right?
Duh. I made the comment that South Carolina will keep it interesting for the first half, which they did, and I said Georgia will not cover, which they did. They won by 10 points. South Carolina looked pretty good in the first half, but then Georgia's defense came out here and just gave them a couple left hooks and an uppercut and knocked them out there.
Yeah, they didn't even score in the whole second half. So
that's true. That's true. Another game that I didn't tell you I watched.
Wait. Before you move on, what do you think this says about Spencer Rattler?
What do you mean?
Like his NFL prospects, like.
I don't know. I thought at the beginning of the season, I thought he would be somewhere within the top 5, to be honest, because I do think he's a good quarterback, but it's kind of like you just don't really hear his name being talked about a lot. And I know South Carolina's having an up and down season or whatever the case may be, but I don't know. That's a really, really good question. I think he's more of like a second or third rounder now because there's a lot of QBs coming out.
Second round is high, though.
Second round is high. It all depends on the team's needs and who's drafting, but you know, he might be second, third, maybe even a fourth round pick. I don't know. And again,
anything's up in there, right?
Happen, and we've got some more games to play, so maybe he gets better as the season progresses. But he looked good in the first half against Georgia, but the second half, nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think he's going to somebody will take a flyer on him late. So
yeah.
I assume this is about Georgia and the reason why people why they don't blow people out early. I guess so the fans will stick around. Georgia, I just knew they were better than South Carolina. I said first quarter. Rod said first half, so he was right. But I also think you're dealing with young men.
Yeah.
And it's like they read the spreads, they see how it is sometimes, and I think they realize there's no threat. So it's probably like lackadaisical in the first half because that's how Georgia has been this year. They're starting off slow on everybody, and then they impose their will. And
they got a new quarterback, so you know it's going to take some time for him to get adjusted well. But you know, other than that, I think Georgia's schedule, and that's the one thing Georgia's always going to have to decide is the schedule. So the tough game
let's be fair. They did have Oklahoma on the schedule. They are getting some addition. You know, they lost. It's not always going to be in their favor. It's not Georgia's fault that Florida and Tennessee.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, that they're down. So I will give them credit. And there has been, you know, there was a time when Florida and Tennessee were both powerhouses.
I know.
Georgia didn't. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. When the conference was first aligned back in the early 90s, I think it was 92. You know, Florida, like you said, Florida and Tennessee were like the dominant teams, and Georgia was an afterthought. But then obviously we've seen what's happened over the past 6 or 7 years. Georgia's kind of climbed up the rankings. Florida was good back in 2020 when they made it the SEC championship game. And now Florida just beat Tennessee. So maybe that gives a little build up to the Georgia-Florida game. But I still think Georgia's going to dominate that game.
Yeah, I do too. But I do want to say, like, their schedule does suck this year, but they lost their best out of conference, and they can't do anything about the conference schedule.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Does your offense cater more to a mobile quarterback? And if so, our offense doesn't really cater to anything. I'll just be honest. We don't have great blocking right now. We have a huge line who doesn't block anybody who runs by them. So our lack of offense and our lack of continuity favors a mobile quarterback, but our play caller seems to favor a pocket quarterback. So I don't really know, man. I don't know what the answer to this question is. Milroe is our best option, not our best thrower, but our most mobile guy who can handle that. But our play caller seems to want to keep him in the pocket. So I don't know what to tell you.
Right. I still
our offense will be better next year. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, I still think Milroe improve more in like the short passing game. We know he can throw a deep bomb when a receiver's wide open, but it's those little 10 to 15 yard passes where I'm just like, man, I'm not sure what exactly he saw, and I don't know if he knows how to read the defense that well.
Yeah, which is what y'all were hoping to see, like, from Buckner on this, but he can read the defense. He just can't get the ball to anybody. Yeah. So I don't know. So going back around college football, you said so you had another game you were going to mention after the Georgia game.
There was a game that we didn't talk about that I secretly watched. I watched the majority of the Florida State Boston College game.
You secretly watched? Like you were hunkered down and like in a closet on your phone?
No. I was watching it, but I was just like, this isn't a game Herb and I would normally be talking about. Because I thought Florida State would blow out Boston College, but I was watching it. And if you look at the stats from that game, Boston College had 18 penalties. And the last penalty that they got,
that was terrible.
It was I believe it was a face mask call. Yeah. And without that call, Florida State's punting the ball back to Boston College. There's a possibility Boston College drives up the field, kicks a field goal, wins the game. But Boston College stayed in the game.
And Boston College was at home, right? So they can't really talk about road whistles for that. I remember watching the face mask, and the face mask wasn't needed. The guy was being tackled by someone else, so it was really just stupid. And you look at a lot of Boston College's penalties, and they were just bad penalties that you just couldn't avoid. And when you're trying to go for the upset like they were, like you can't afford that. You can't do that. You can't keep giving them chances. So that was one of those sneaky good games that was early on that I was like, okay. So let me ask you this. Do you think Florida State was looking ahead to Clemson, or is it Boston College?
I think so. And Florida State was on the road, so I'll give BC that. But still, Florida State was a superior team. They're number 3 in the nation. They should have won that by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns.
So are we forgiving teams that go on the road and don't beat teams the way they should?
We can't forgive Alabama for what they did.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. I cannot do it.
I can't. So fun.
I cannot do it. It just gives us – both me and you totally different insights onto the Ole Miss game Saturday. It's like I have absolutely no idea what to expect. Maybe Milroe goes for 300 yards. Maybe we have an interception. Maybe our offensive line decides to block. I don't know what they're going to do.
What's a bigger chance? Milroe runs for 200 yards or throws for 200 yards?
Throws
for 200 over run?
Yeah, he can. Because what's going to happen with him is those deep balls. He can get those deep balls, which will get him the yardage. Now he'll run. He can run for a little over 100. And does he have the possibility to run for 200? Yeah, he can. But I would like to see him more. And I think Reese and the offense are probably going to hope that he passes for the 200 yards as opposed to running. And keep in mind we got Jace McClellan, and let's not forget about Roy Williams. He actually looked good. It was South Florida, but he put up some good numbers. He had like 110 rushing yards this past Saturday.
Yeah. And he said, I understand the problem. We're not being flippant when we talk about it. We're just like, there's a marriage going on here, and it just doesn't seem. So there's actually something we talked about at work today, Raj. Here's what I think. Reese comes to the team, right? He wants to implement offense. He looks around, sees the quarterback. He's not enthused, right? He wants to bring in his guy. Mm-hmm. I don't think he tanked Milroe, but he's mostly been sitting there thinking, look, man, my guy's the guy. My guy's the guy. My guy's the guy. I feel like that's what happened, right? Milroe does not do well against Texas. He brings in his guy. His guy is awful at the plays that Reese has picked for him. It's failed. Reese looks terrible. Buckner looks terrible. Now we're back to the drawing board. And did we kind of send people are like, did Saban send a message here? No, because I don't think he caters to fans.
Yeah.
But I almost think he was sending a message to Reese that, look, your guy is not the guy.
Right.
Deal with what we have here and move on.
I'm kind of glad it happened because now we know the QB hierarchy at Bama. It's Milroe, Simpson, and then pretty much everybody else. We could say Buckner third. But
everybody.
I wouldn't mind seeing Lana get a whole seat in there before Buckner. To be honest, I don't think they could have do any worse than what he did. So
that's sad that you don't say they could do better. You say they couldn't do worse.
They couldn't do any worse.
Yeah. So, all right. So after the FSU BC game, you have to talk about the Colorado game.
All right, that was the next one I was getting into because other than
first off, with Twins, did you stay up that late or did you?
We did because we put them to sleep and they were going in and out of sleep for a little bit, but we were both in the nursery watching. We watched the entire game and went to bed at like 1:45 maybe. I forgot what time the game ended, but it was late.
It was late, way after my bedtime.
Yeah. What did you think about the game?
So, I feel like the coaches really kind of ramped things up, and mostly the Colorado State coach. So I said it was both the coaches' fault, but I had a good little talking to by Ricky today at work, and I know he's probably at home with his boy who's been so hopefully everything's going on good there. The Colorado State coach definitely kicked it off by randomly going after Deion, and Deion is the guy who's going to respond by going, wait a minute, and so. I feel like there's a lot too much back and forth before the game to where everybody's emotions were hyped. And I think for Colorado State, this is your Super Bowl. Because name one other team that Colorado State plays. They probably play Wyoming. I think they're in the same conference, but you don't really care about any of those other games. So for Colorado State, this was their Super Bowl. So they're going to do what they have to say. They're going to get hyped up. They're going to get amped up. And they came into it, but I mean, the personal fouls, the hit on Travis Hunter, and now the DB is getting death threats. Obviously, I don't agree with that.
We don't agree with that. That's a bit much. Was it a cheap shot? Yeah, we all know.
Oh my! But it was so first off, the guy's already being held, and they're calling pass interference.
Right.
Ball goes, it's not being caught. Everyone has slowed down on the field. The DB dodges his own player to go around and give a cheap shot to a guy who doesn't see it coming, defenseless player of anything. To me, I would have liked to see him kicked out just because Hunter couldn't play anymore. Now, I know you can't do that. I know that's not a thing that's going to happen ever. But I feel like that should have been it for him because Travis Hunter was gone.
And
it was
we
just a cheap shot.
We saw how he went down immediately after the hit, and my immediate thought was broken ribs.
Yeah,
Turns out it was a lacerated liver, and I'm like, good Lord, that just sounds horrible. So now he's out three, probably 4 weeks. He's going to miss some big games. You know,
USC and Oregon. I mean,
Oregon. They have Oregon, USC. Then they're at Arizona State. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not too fond of how Arizona State's been doing this year. They're 1-2, but I got to look at their schedule. But that being a road game, that could go either way without Travis Hunter. Then they host Stanford. So I think there's a possibility that Colorado slides out of the rankings over the next 3 weeks because they're probably going to lose these next 2 games.
Yeah, I think they're already decent underdogs for this next game. So, yeah, I agree with you totally, Raj. So
they are. Oregon is favored by 21.
Yeah.
So
what I think of the show Deion is putting on, all the celebrities, I think Colorado knew this and wanted this.
Yes.
I think after USC and UCLA left the conference, Colorado was trying to figure out their place. And without Deion, they don't get that invite to the Big 12.
Right.
So I feel like Colorado is 1,000% happy with everything that's gone. So what do I think personally? You know, I'm just kind of more of a quiet guy, so I don't care for it. But as far as what he's done for the university and what he's turned them into, Colorado was not must-see TV last year.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden everybody was tuned into that TCU game. They were tuned into people were staying up past midnight. Us old folks
watching
like
Colorado. How often are you gonna stay up past midnight watching Colorado State? That never happens. Yeah.
That game would have been on at like 7. You know, let's put it on and maybe see about our viewership. Yeah. But the fact that they gave it the late night spotlight and everybody was there and the hype was built for it, you weren't gonna get that anywhere else. So no matter what you think, because like I said, I'm just more of a conservative person. So am I a Deion kind of guy? Absolutely not. Can I condemn what he's done there? Oh no, because he turned what was a traditional powerhouse, turned into an afterthought, back into must-see TV.
Right.
Now, however these next 2 weeks go, I think it's going to be bad. But I think that what Deion has done is what they wanted. Colorado wanted to be relevant again. They needed to escape the sinking ship of the Pac-12, and they've done it all. So.
I love it. I agree with everything you just said. I love what he's doing for the program. To Brian's point, Lil Wayne brought out the team this past Saturday, gave him a little warm up. We've seen other celebrities there: Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, Cameron's been there. Lou Young, who's a social media star, he was out. He's at.
How come you haven't been there?
I'm waiting for someone to get me a plane ticket. We're still trying to work out some of these details as far as the budget, where am I lodging, everything like that. So maybe we can raise a few funds and see if we. And if I'm going, you're going anyway. So we got everybody know that. But to Brian's question, I love it. I love it, and he's just bringing a lot of attention to the program. And keep in mind, they only won 1 game last year, and I'm pretty sure last year you couldn't even sell tickets. You're probably just handing them out for free, standing outside the stadium.
Wow,
now
Raj.
Games are sold out. They've won 3 times as many games as they did last year. Looking at the rest of their schedule,
they won 1 last year, so saying 3 times as many is just you trying to use
3 times 1 is 3. Hey, I didn't teach you math. I'm sorry. So when Travis Hunter comes back, there's a possibility they could get 6 games out of this. And like I said, if Travis Hunter was playing these next 2 games, I would say against Oregon, that would be a very, very competitive game. Now that he's not playing, I just don't know how it's going to look. And keep in mind, my initial thought was 4 or 5 wins. And a lot of people said like 2 or 3. Now it's looking maybe it might be 5 and 6. We don't know. But regardless, everything that he's done for the program this year has been a plus. We're happy for Deion. And I think Deion really, really relates to the players well.
Definitely agree with that.
He doesn't have that old school coach mentality. He likes them to listen to the music. He wants them to look good, feel good. He knows how to motivate them. And he's been honest since day one. He said, look, I'm bringing my luggage, and it's Louis.
You just wanted to say that again, too.
I did. A lot of you guys, you're not going to get to play, so transfer. And that's what happened. There was a big overhaul with the program. And based on that, a lot of people thought they were going to fail immediately. But they're 3-0.
Yeah. Can't fault them for any of that, Raj. I agree with you 100%. All right. So other than that, do you give Mizzou credit for the little win over K-State, or do you want to go ahead and look ahead to next week?
I give credit to Mizzou. I actually watched the end of that game. It was like a 61-yard field goal. So that was shout out to Mizzou for that. But other than that, let's go to next week.
Okay. FSU and Clemson.
This game.
Does the Duke game change your perception of this game?
Yes, the Duke game changes my perception of this game, and the way Florida State played last week changes my perception of this game. I'm still leaning towards Florida State. I don't like what I've seen out of Clemson this year. Yeah, the Duke game was just horrible. I thought by DJ transferring, I thought this was Cade Clubber Lang's year to just
Clubber Lang's year, yep.
Maybe even jump into the Heisman race and have a good season, but it hasn't turned out that well. Clemson lost a couple of guys defense to the league. They don't have a lot of great offensive weapons. So I'm leaning towards Florida State in this game.
Right. I am too. Clemson hasn't looked good. I feel like Florida State was a look ahead situation against BC. I feel like it's one of those we sent the blood in the water sort of situations. Like if you're not going to beat Clemson, like it's going to happen this year. You know, if it's going to happen, I wouldn't underestimate Clemson. I think it's still going to be a good game. But I guess we got our college picks coming up on YouTube. Should check out all our YouTube stuff: college picks, NFL picks, and Bama versus the world. So we'll give our official picks on there.
Yep.
But definitely leaning Florida State in that one.
Yep.
What else you got? So the morning slate also has Auburn at Texas A&M, and we got to get back to doing our viewers guide.
Yes.
So look for those coming up on some YouTube shorts later.
For those of y'all that don't know, Herb and I, please follow our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of ideas floating out there. So we're gonna really start ramping up the YouTube aspect of everything. So please, if you're not, follow us on Herb and Rodg podcast on YouTube.
Yep. So Auburn at Texas A&M. Not really sure what to think about that one.
I'm gonna go with A&M since they're at home. I do think it might be somewhat of an entertaining game. I honestly want to see Auburn lose, but either way, whatever.
So you don't want to see Texas A&M win. You want to see Auburn lose.
I just want to see Auburn lose. Yeah.
Can't blame
one reason being was because ever since we lost to Texas, and even last week, a lot of Auburn fans are just coming out of the woodworks and talking about how bad we look and we shouldn't have benched Milroe, blah 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 blah. So I cannot wait till they lose, so I can just politely say, hey, I'm keeping the receipts like Dion.
And we're like, we didn't want to bench him either, so that wasn't
right. We didn't want to, but listen, and like I said, in a weird way, it kind of worked itself out because now we know the depth chart. We know what's going on. Milroe's number one, and that's how it's going to be going forward unless something else happens.
Yep. You also have Oklahoma at Cincinnati. We were asked last week, is Cincinnati for real? You're going to find out this game.
Yep.
Against Oklahoma. And then Kentucky at Vandy, which you're only watching this if you're on YouTube and you've got like 4 TVs. So
speaking of Oklahoma, Cincinnati, I really want Oklahoma to win these next few games because I want the Red River rivalry to be more competitive than it was last year. Last year, Texas won
I thought they didn't play last year.
Oklahoma didn't play.
Okay.
Sorry, Brian, but but it would be nice for both teams to go into that game undefeated. It would be a heck of a game.
I would 1,000% agree with that. So definitely looking at so. You say Auburn isn't good, y'all. Like don't ever say that to us.
Yeah, so we're playing in the plains in Auburn. So
Auburn being good or not good has never affected like how that game goes or what we're gonna. So
last time we played there, we had Bryce Young and we went to 4 overtimes. So, with this team this year, I have no idea what's gonna happen because I guarantee you Hugh Freeze is gonna work on some stuff and be like, I really want to beat this team because that's really gonna put the team on the map.
Basically. So that gets you into the 2:30 slate, Ross. Some good games in there. Obviously, Ole Miss at Bama, which we have no idea what's going to happen there. BYU at Kansas is kind of like a sneaky good pick or a sneaky good game.
I like Kansas's quarterback. I forgot the gentleman's name, but he's got a nice arm and he's very, very mobile. He's not a bad quarterback, so keep an eye on him.
You know what's funny about that is there's a Texas guy who was messaging me after the Bama game, and he was like looking ahead already, and that's one of the games he's worried about is the Kansas game. Did you ever think we would get to the point in our lives where that was something that was happening?
But I even said this. I said Texas is probably going to lose 1 or 2 games this year that they're not supposed to be losing.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be losing. Yeah, so we'll see about that. Other than that, I'd say Arkansas LSU might be interesting a little bit. LSU's at home, favored by 17.5.
Well, so you're skipping ahead though, right? So
I'm sorry.
The 2:30 slate. Sorry, you got also UCLA
that was a night
at
game,
Utah and UTSA at Tennessee.
I'll go with Tennessee.
The UTSA game is funny just because
we like saying UTSA.
Because we like saying UTSA, and they've been talking trash on Twitter.
To Tennessee?
Yeah.
How do you even do? That's not even like a rivalry. How does that even work? The Tennessee fans are looking at this like, really? Like what?
Exactly.
I don't know. That's strange.
Yep, very strange. I don't get some of this stuff. So, and then going on to the 6 o'clock, like you were saying, Raj, Arkansas at LSU. Before LSU lost to BYU and kind of blew that game.
Yeah.
I'm not, maybe this was a little bit better. LSU looking much, much better. So I kind of am almost expecting a blowout there.
Yep.
Ohio State, and let's just skip ahead. 6:30.
Yeah, Ohio State and Notre Dame. Yeah. That's going to be huge.
Which I'm assuming also is going to be on our college picks too as well.
Yes. I think Notre Dame has a better quarterback. I think Ohio State has a better receiving core. Hartman from Notre Dame looks really, really good. They have a really, really good. I wish he was at Alabama instead of Tyler Buckner, to be honest. And I think you were the one that mentioned that Saturday too. So that 6:30 game in Notre Dame.
Thanks, Raj.
That's going to be huge. Sorry.
Yep.
I'm just giving you credit where credit's due.
Yeah. Well, I don't want credit on that. I do wish he was there. That will be a good game. So, and I guess you have to tune into our YouTube channel to see who we're going to pick there, though. So, this is about the Oklahoma game at Texas. Didn't have a QB. Well, neither do we. So, hey.
Yeah. We don't. We have guys on the roster that are labeled quarterbacks, but we don't know what that's going on.
The hype train is rolling. I assume that was about Colorado.
Yeah, because he was on the pregame and The Rock was there too. The Rock was there on the pregame show as well.
Oh, I forgot about The Rock being there. Yes, he didn't call me to tell me he was going to be on there, mostly because I don't know him. So
he called me. Sorry,
I don't want to talk on the show anymore.
Okay.
And then what do you say? The new math is the last one.
Yeah.
All right, so any other college game? I guess that's most of them. Again, we'll probably be releasing our college picks Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
So if you want to see who you should not be rooting for, you'll want to check that out for sure.
Yeah, and if you do stay up late, watch the California-Washington game, not because it's going to be competitive, but just to watch Michael Penix Jr. play. Good. He's a good quarterback. He's got a good arm. Do you think he's going to be a first-round pick, or is it too early to tell?
Too early to tell.
Okay.
I mean, he's played good at these last couple of years at Washington, but it's like he seems to be an afterthought in the like at what his ceiling is the third best quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird to me. So I don't know. He just doesn't seem talked about a lot, but he's definitely playing himself into that conversation.
Yep.
And if Washington can survive the Pac-12 this year, that seems to have the best teams out there right now.
Yep.
He's definitely in the Heisman chase.
I got you. I agree.
All right, so Raj.
Yes.
You ready to transition in?
Let's do it.
To a little NFL. And why don't we just start everybody off?
Yes.
With the Dolphins Minute.
Oh.
Go ahead and talk about your Dolphins.
Don't say it like that. Be happy when you say it. Don't go ahead and talk about your Dolphins. Come on, say it again.
Raj, Are you excited to talk about your Dolphins?
That's so fake, but yes, I am. The Dolphins went into New England Sunday night, beat New England 24-17. We're 2-0, top of the AFC East. Tua looked really, really good. Had 200.
When you say he looks good, do you mean throwing or just like he's a good-looking guy?
He's a good-looking guy. He's sharp, good-looking guy. Good for him. Throwing-wise, though, he looked good. 249 yards, a touchdown, interception. Tua was extremely accurate. And I just like he just looks better overall. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's healthy, accurate. He's got he's got the core. He's got the wide receivers. Got good running backs. I just hope that going forward that Tua can stay this consistent throughout the season and stay healthy. And Miami's going to look good in the playoffs.
Nice. So Raj, we're stealing this a little bit from Mr. U. It's a question they had on there, so I'm going to do who. And I'm interested to see this Tua make this list. Are your top 5 quarterbacks in the league? Rogers' top 5.
Yep.
After 2 games, which is an extremely small sample.
Right.
Who do you got?
All right. And Herb specified, this is just my top QBs right now after 2 games, not where I think they're going to be later or midseason, whatever. So number 1, I'm going with QB1 Tua, 715 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He has a 70% completion rate. He's looked great. If anybody, even if you're not a Dolphins fan, try to get out there and just try to watch the game with Tua. He looks good. He's got the weapons. Very, very happy for Tua. Here's where it gets interesting. And keep in mind, I'm saying this name after 2 games. I can't wait to see Herb's reaction on this one. Number 2, Kirk Cousins.
No, they're 0-2.
I don't care.
No.
I don't care. I'm not basing it off wins. I don't care. He looks good as a quarterback.
Apparently, he must like, do you like me now? No.
708 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception.
No, the committee is voting no. No.
What? I didn't know we had a committee. It's just us.
Well, the committee is me. No.
Number 3, I got Mahomes. Mahomes, and I feel like towards the end of the season, Mahomes will probably get up to number 1. Mahomes, 531 passing yards, same as Tua, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He looks good. I know Kelsey was hurt the first game. He didn't look 100% last game. Once Kelsey gets back up there, and I think Mahomes will be fine. 4 is our boy Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts. We didn't talk about this. There was one pass he threw in the last game to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown caught it out of bounds, but it was just a pass that we never thought we would see Jalen Hurts throw especially when he was at Alabama. He threw a phenomenal pass to A.J. Brown on the sidelines. It made me smile when I saw the pass. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got Jalen Hurts at number 4. And number 5, I got Lamar Jackson. 406 passing yards, 92 rushing yards, 75% completion rate, probably because he doesn't have to throw the ball as much as everybody else. So that's it. I got 2 of Kirk Cousins, Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. Of course, this list can change next week. In my honorable mention, I do have Jared Goff, and probably Baker's up there too. Baker's looking pretty good this year.
So
I know Baker.
So you do have a Baker.
Yeah, Baker's looking pretty good. I'm not gonna lie about that. So good for Baker, because I really like Baker coming out.
One on there.
I like Baker coming out of college, but I think his somewhat, some people call it his cockiness, and they didn't like Baker because of other reasons. But I always thought he was a good quarterback. Yeah. So that's my top 5 right now.
Was this about Colorado also more coaching with discipline?
29 penalties in 3 games.
Because honestly, that could have been Alabama too. So we would like to see the same thing. So I definitely agree with that for whichever team. If it's Colorado, then it's because they're playing with emotion as well. That's the problem. Yeah. So, well, Raj, that was a terrible list. That was the worst list you've ever come up with.
Thank you. I hope everybody talks about it, and I appreciate it.
All right, Raj. So. Also, real quick, shout out to Nick Chubb, man.
Hate
to see the injury, man. We're just sorry to hear it. Sorry to see it. Sorry to watch it, man. And hope for a speedy, quick recovery for him. Sorry. Okay, going to the teams. Oh, and then I was like on a way lesser note, Barkley, Saquon Barkley is out.
Yep.
Kind of sucks for the running backs, at a time when you're trying to get more money, trying to get more push, and they get banged up. It just seems like
the guys giving out the money are saying this is why we're not giving you the money. So it does suck. I feel like if you're a running back, you got to maximize those first 4 years in the league to the best of your ability and just pray and hope for the best after that.
I see a crappy comment about glad you named 2 OU QBs. I'm not getting into the Jalen Hurts thing. If you want to say you want him at OU, but he did graduate from University of Alabama and won a national championship here.
Yeah, so I see what Brian.
You want to say whatever you got to say about him, man. Good luck to you, but we're not giving.
We claim Jalen at Bama.
Yeah. And Jalen claims Bama.
Jalen claims Bama. Yeah,
you can say what you want to say about that. That would give it to you, but that's how that was. So Raj, I'm looking at our list, and again, I just steal stuff from Mr. U since I don't really have a lot of time to plan this stuff. So. The 0-2 teams, I'm looking at the list, and there's certain teams on there, not a surprise. Houston, Arizona, Carolina, Chicago. The 3, I guess, that really kind of jump out, if you didn't know their schedules.
Yes.
Minnesota, given how they played last year, right?
Right.
The Chargers, which,
and they're
all. Go ahead.
What I was going to say about Minnesota is I thought with the addition of Jordan Addison that they would probably be 2-0 right now. Simply because that gives Kirk Cousins another weapon, and even though he was number 2 on my list because of his passing yards,
he's not number 2 on anybody's list.
I'm not anybody. I'm Raj. Oh man, I love that comeback. You like that? You like that? Did you get the reference there?
Yeah, it's how you like me now, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Oh, what you said something about the 2-0. We said Minnesota. Who else?
Minnesota. Oh, and 2.
0-2.
Minnesota,
Yep.
the Chargers, the Patriots, which I thought they were going to be last, and the Bengals.
The Bengals
the one that jumps out?
Yeah, because after Joe Burrow got the ginormous payday, it just seems like these first 2 games he just has been kind of absent, to be honest with you. I don't know.
He's out there just throwing left-handed. Yep. He's just whatever.
Do you think it's his injury that's still lingering on that's causing him to play this bad? He's got 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And you're thinking Jamar Chase should probably have 304 yards receiving by now, just in 2 games. But
for anybody who drafted him, I feel bad for you.
Burrow's QBR is 47.2. He's 22nd in the league.
So he's barely there, is what you're saying.
He's barely there. He's not doing anything. And is he out next game? I know he's questionable on my opponent's.
Who are they playing next? Wow. Do you just only know stuff from fantasy football?
They play they host the Rams on Monday Night Football.
Oh, I did see that. I think I picked the Rams for that game too.
I would.
I mean, if they go to 0-3, they might as well cancel it. The biggest thing about those two, they were both conference losses too, as well. In their division, so that's going to get in trouble too. So. I think it's the injury a little, Raj, but he also played probably 2 of the better defenses he's going to see. Yeah. And a very underrated Cleveland defense and the Baltimore game. So it's kind of a combination of different things. But they started off 0-2 last year. But man, it's tough. You don't want to get it. You don't want to get into that. So
yeah.
I'm shocked to see them on that list though. A lot of the other teams and the Chargers too. Chargers, you keep thinking it's.
You're gonna hate what I'm getting ready to say. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What?
I thought the Chargers were gonna do well because when I won fantasy 2 years ago, Justin Herbert was my quarterback. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are you actually sorry?
No.
No. Okay, that's fair.
My bad. Yeah. I'm not surprised at Houston. And what about Denver? Are you surprised at Denver being 0-2?
Yes and no. I mean, it's like you thought they'd be better, but I didn't think they'd be 2-0. So it's kind of like Denver's done, man. Russell Wilson is done. They're going to spend the rest of the year trying to figure out how to get out of that contract and what they trade for him and when's the soonest they can draft a quarterback.
And they're getting ready to be 0-3 because they go to Miami Sunday.
Yeah, that's it for them.
Yeah.
So it's done. It's done for them. So out of the 2-0 teams.
What's the question?
Baltimore, Dallas.
I know you're not going to skip over Miami. I know you're not going to blatantly do that.
First off, how do you know I skipped over them? This list could be in any order.
Before you started talking, you gave me the skip look. Come on. Anyway.
What does the skip look like?
It's this. You gave me the skip look. So
Miami, Baltimore, Dallas, Philly, Washington, Atlanta, New Orleans, San Francisco.
Who do you think, if you had to give your own power rankings just from the 2-0 teams, like who would you have number 1 and number 2? And let's just say number 1, 2, and 3.
San Francisco, Dallas, Philly.
All right. Who's just out of curiosity, who's 4 and 5?
Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, never mind. I knew it. You're so petty. I can't do this.
I mean, you're definitely still ahead of Atlanta, New Orleans, and Washington.
Yeah, wow, that's great. Anyway.
So, Rod, a lot of people on your side. So, Rod's had it right because it said you like that. And then apparently I did give you the look. And Brian is back there.
Saw it.
Yes, I saw it. So, geez, I need my own fan club because ain't nobody on my side. Oh, Lord. Okay. I guess we're not going to cover the NFL too much. I do like your top 5 list. Appreciate that. We'll be doing the NFL pick segment as well to come out. So if everybody wants to see how we feel about the NFL picks this week and check them out, please do that. So we're going to jump in. 10 minutes left. We are going to see. Thank you. I saw nothing. Thank you. Because there was no look. It never happened.
Yep.
Never happened. Speaking of which, from Lady Alpha, there was a question that we kind of skipped over last week.
What's that?
We'll lead into the questions of death.
Okay.
This one though,
All
she wanted to know, why don't we talk about hockey?
Is that one of the questions? That
was the question from last week, and it was somewhere in here this week. There you go, Raj. Just so you don't think I'm me. So first off, the way we grew up, it was basketball for us, which might shock you with how much we talk about football now. It was definitely basketball for us growing up.
Soccer.
Then
soccer
is what we grew up with actually playing. Basketball is what we grew up watching. And I actually used to skip my basketball games to go watch, to go to my soccer games. So, and then when we got to Tuscaloosa, football was king.
Yep.
So honestly, from being overseas and then being in the South, there just wasn't a whole lot of hockey exposure for us growing up. There's even more baseball exposure, if you can believe that. We just kind of slid away from that. But not a lot of hockey exposure. I've been to one hockey game ever. And I think that was like a minor league game. Now, I will say this. Hockey is probably like similar to baseball, that you should experience it in person.
I agree.
And I think you will get a greater love for it.
I agree.
That's the reason.
I've been to one hockey game too. It was a New York Rangers game. I went for market one time in New York with a vendor and had a phenomenal time. It was extremely exciting. Loved it. Had a good time. However, hockey, I just find it, for me, a little hard to just watch a hockey game on TV. Same with baseball. I just can't sit there and watch an entire baseball game on TV. But
agree. Fair answer. Yep. But we'd be willing if, I don't know, one of these hockey franchises want to fly us out to a game and watch it.
Hey, we'll definitely do it.
We'll definitely do it. So, all right, you ready for some questions of death?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, we're gonna start you off, Raj, with a little work, play, live.
Okay.
Anybody who hasn't, tuned in, give them 3 names. You have to pick one person to work with, one person to play, as in like go out Friday nights with, hang out with, and one person to live. Like this person will be his next door neighbor. All right. First off, we'll start you off with the Miami Dolphins version.
Okay.
Waddle.
Okay.
Tyreek. Mike McDaniel.
Oh, this is hard because they all seem like fun people.
Mike McDaniel's younger than us, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna work with Mike McDaniel because I think he'll be fun to work around. Cool, keep the office kind of lively, but we'll also get the job done.
Right.
Which is exactly what he's doing with the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to hang out with Tyreek because I feel like he could show me around the city. Miami, he's from Miami. He'll show me around. He'll know what to do. He'll know what the spots are. And I feel like Waddle would be a nice neighbor. Hey, man, what's going on? Everything go all right with your lawn? I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. Unfortunately, I got to go out of town. Would you mind mowing it real fast since you're so fast? And Waddle would say, yeah.
You did not just say, can you mow it real fast because you're so fast?
But I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Is he gonna do it like this?
Is he gonna? Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Well, so that was agreed. That was a tough one.
That's hard. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give you a better one then.
Okay.
Quarterbacks.
Okay.
One of these quarterbacks is no longer playing, so we kicked them off of the list. So now you have 3: Tua.
Okay. Yep.
Josh Allen. Mac Jones.
So Tua's going to be my neighbor because he just had a kid. So he's going to want to be at home a lot more. And we could talk about that and, kids growing up and just sit and maybe have a beer or something like that or some water. Josh Allen, I'm going to hang out with because he just seems like maybe he's a fun guy. I forgot who he was rumored to be dating. I had to check that out, but he seems like he would be a fun guy. And he puts his body out there a lot, so he seems like, man, you just go out there and get messed up one night and like Josh was like, yeah, let's do it again next weekend. And I say, Josh, no, I can't do it because I have kids now. And then I would rather
what?
And then I'm going to work with Mac Jones. Mac Jones just seems like the nice, reserved, cookie cutter type. Until he gets really mad, he's like, look, I'm not going to turn in these reports on time anymore. I'm Mac Jones.
Is that how Mac Jones sounds to you? Like in your head?
I don't think so, no.
Wow. Haley Steinfeld is who he's.
Haley Steinfeld. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Wow. Tell me Mac Jones again.
Look, somebody took my stapler. It had the Patriots emblem on it. I want it back. I'm Mac Jones.
Wow. So we basically lost any chance of ever having Mac Jones on the show. So
if Mac Jones ever comes on the show, I would apologize for that. And I have a feeling he's probably not going to pull up this episode. But if he does,
so he just reverses your other two. He'd hang out with Josh Allen, but work with Tua and live next to Mac Jones. So.
Yeah.
Geez, Raj, you're definitely getting us fired.
Mac Jones will definitely be the head of the HOA as well.
That is true. I believe that. All right, Raj. So I stole an idea from you. We're doing an NFL version though. You have a new business selling ice to Eskimos. You need 3 NFL players to be the face of your business, and you need a slogan. Who are those 3 players? Who are the most charismatic? Who can help you sell ice to Eskimos?
Oh my gosh, this is a tough one. And they don't have to be on the same team or anything. Just 3 random NFL
just
players.
3 random people. I hope they're all still in the NFL right now, but yeah.
I was going to say Bryce, but I think you said Bryce last week when I asked you this question, so I'm going to leave that out. And since we're selling ice to Eskimos, and Eskimos aren't Eskimos
you're trying to make this a logical question. That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
Well, we need some young faces up there. We don't want like. So I'm gonna get Jalen Waddles because he can do the waddle whenever people walk in, like for store visits and stuff like that. He can and then waddles are like penguins because penguins waddle, and those are close to Eskimos because it's cold. So there's a relation there. Don't pull your hat. You're gonna listen to this. I'm gonna go. This is a tough question because there's so many people in the league. I might go with Mahomes. Mahomes is marketable. He's already in a lot of TV. He can really get the name out there, spread it throughout the Midwest and things like that. And then last person's going to be. I've always liked Mika Fitzpatrick, but I don't know.
Wow.
No, that's a stretch out there. Oh, Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner has marketability written all over him. That saucy Eskimo ice is going to be such a hit. Yes, I'm going with Sauce Gardner as my 3rd person. So Sauce, and who else did I pick? I picked Sauce, Jalen
Mahomes, Waddle.
Mahomes.
So
yep.
Brian had a couple of choices for you. He said Kelsey and Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams
I like the Kelsey one. Jamal Williams I liked after his interviews with Detroit, but I don't know much else about him.
So. Well, remember he came to New Orleans and he says beignets are just like funnel cakes.
yeah. So he might not be the guy to sell you stuff. All right. Sticking with the NFL.
Yep.
You're drafting a team next year. Okay.
Tua.
Who are your and whoever you draft, you get to keep for 5 years.
Okay.
Like no trades, no nothing. So these are foundational people, right?
Yeah.
Pick 3 current NFL players that you would draft and 1 college person.
Okay. 3 NFL players and 1 college. I might draft. Ooh, I hate to say Tua. That's just so biased, though. Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
As my quarterback.
I assume that no defensive players are getting drafted.
I mean, yeah, I might get Micah Parsons.
Right.
Receiver. I have to draft 1 college, right?
Yeah.
All right. For my receiver, I'm going to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
So I have a QB, receiver, and I have my linebacker. So
you got one more pick, and it's got to be an NFL player.
NFL player. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna go with tight end. What's his name? When he's healthy, Kelsey. When he's healthy.
Yeah, Kelsey. Yeah. So you're only gonna keep him the times when he's healthy.
Yeah.
And so they're giving you 2 Hurt, CMC, Jettis, and Stutzman. So, I don't know about C-Mac just because of age. Like 5 years from now, I think he's gonna be broken down.
Yeah,
that'd be the only one out there. Of course, I love the Jalen Hurts pick, and of course, Brian's gonna give you that one. I say gotta have the Penguin Waddle. Agree with that. Oh, and Raj.
Yes.
I got an old school question for you. I know that was already 3.
Oh yeah.
I got an old school question for you to end.
Shoot.
On, okay, pull this one out. Tried this one last year. They even look better this year, so we got to bring it back.
Okay.
The Dolphins make the Super Bowl.
Duh.
Right? They're playing against the Eagles.
Oh wow.
You have the choice with 2 weeks to prepare. Do you let Tua start the game, or do you trade him for any quarterback in the league besides Jalen Hurts? Super Bowl on the line. Y'all haven't won one.
I'm rolling with Tua. We haven't won one in. Who cares about that? But
y'all haven't won one since the Super Bowl was invented.
We were the only team in 1972. The Miami Dolphins went undefeated and won the Super Bowl. No other team has done that. The Patriots came close when they had Brady and Moss, but they didn't do it. So let's get that out the way. Okay. Herb knows that he hates that I bring up that decade-old fact. I'm sticking with Tua.
Okay.
Yep.
I like it. Yep. All right, Raj. That ends it tonight. I guess we'll get some more YouTube stuff come up. Thank you, everybody, for the comments.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate everybody for sticking with us and our little bit of craziness. Raj, I guess we'll be back next week. You can check that on YouTube for the rest of the week. For everybody, have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And
we appreciate y'all. Roll Tide.